here's the thing, right? I know I'm alone in this, but I have moments where I'm sympathetic to Ray, right? When I was watching Banana Man, where he explained that everyone just didn't understand his stand-up routine and how great it was, my heart ached a little for a full-grown man who had to make a movie about how he's not stupid, you're stupid. And then he makes something like this. And I'm like, oh, okay, fuck you. Fuck you forever.
Yeah, exactly.
God-awful movie.
Welcome back to the Gamcast, where each week we sample another selection from Christian cinema because I'm too ornery to make friends. I'm your host, No Illusions. Heath won't be joining us today. Nothing to do with the orneriness, just a coincidence. But sitting 900 miles to my northeast is my bad friend Anna Bosnick. Eli, how are you this fine afternoon, sir?
I'm fantastic, Noah. I love everyone on this call very, very much. So throw that out there. Everybody on this podcast is near and dear to me. We shouldn't say anything we're going to regret.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
In case you need some context for that response, also joining us tonight, backed by popular demand, yours not hers, is musician and masochist Anna Bosnick. Anna, welcome back.
Oh, thanks, Noah. I wish I could say it's good to be here.
Yeah, but we'd know you were lying. It was, it didn't go over well at the wedding. It was obvious you were lying then, so.
Oh, no.
All right, so tell us, Anna, what will we be breaking down today?
We watched 7 Reasons. It's the story of a group of college kids doing Lulu college kid stuff when a crazed Australian pops out of a bush and starts berating them for wanting to get an education and not staying in the kitchen and having babies.
Yep, that's exactly. This was bad for a Ray berates college students movie.
It sure was.
And we've seen a lot of those. Like, I'm comparing that to the other 11 or so we've seen.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And Eli, how bad was this movie?
Well, if you love the wackos who stand outside of Planned Parenthood bothering people, but you wish they were in charge of the Saw franchise as well, you'll love this movie. Look, I don't want to spoil anything, but Ray's got a weird twist on the anti-abortion argument.
And a pretty weird soundtrack on it, too. The soundtrack would move right over to Saw as well, or at least 2/3 of it. All right, so here's the thing. Normally, this show is a bit of a sausage fest, I will admit. So when we watch a movie like this, and I think to myself, damn, I'm a man, therefore I can't get pregnant and have a spite abortion just so I can send pictures of it to Ray. I have to just abandon that idea. But, I realize that's a lot to ask, but Anna, seeing as how you agreed to watch this movie and marry Eli, you seem like the type, if anybody was going to do it.
Hey, you know what? Might as well pop that on the list of all those things. Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Love
how
the
long
idea
is that going to take?
Sending pictures to Ray. Here's the conception. Oh, look, a little plus right here on the pregnancy test. Now it's a minus, Ray.
You see this bloody jelly bean, Ray? You see it?
This is yours. This is just for you, baby. You're going to send Heath $1. Guess what I'm going to send you?
Make sure you get something for your money. All right, so is there anything you guys want to nominate this one for being the best at being the worst at?
Oh, bud. Best worst anniversary gift.
What?
Ooh.
That's right. It is our anniversary in less than a week.
Oh! Did Eli know this when he scheduled? Does he know what day it was that he got married?
Well, I don't know, Eli. Do you remember when our anniversary is?
It's been a busy, crazy month. And I was just, hey, we're together though, right? No being apart this week for the record. It's just you and me. Quality time.
All right, I cannot imagine for a second this is a coincidence. Eli, I apologize for calling you out like this on the show. But Eli said a thing saying, hey, we're working on dates for next year's live show. So are there any days that you guys need off? And I was like, well, the only day I'm absolutely going to not want a weekend that I'm not going to want to do it is on my anniversary. That's Valentine's Day. Other than that, I'm fine. And then like the next, like 3 hours later, Eli's sending all of these messages to me and to Cecil and to Tom and everybody going, oh shit, my anniversary's next week, guys. Or can I not record with you guys on Monday for Citation?
I knew it the whole time, Noah. I knew it the whole time. You know, it's a Zencaster feature. I don't know if they're listening. Is you can't make hard eye contact with someone through Zencaster, and I really need that feature right now. So get on it, Zencaster. Really need to be looking very hard at my friend and colleague right now. It's so vital. Morgan, can you edit that out of Anna's brain?
Edit that out of my brain, did you say? Wow. Oh, man.
All right. Interesting choice. I didn't realize there was a fecal matter year in our in the anniversary list. I think I probably went with China that year or something. Okay, I was going to go with best worst list. Right. Okay. So this whole movie is framed around knocking down the 7 reasons that people give for having abortions, but 2 of the items are basically the same. He forgets he's doing a list at one point. Some of the segments have nothing to do with the reasons, and he never knocks any of them down.
He sure doesn't. Doesn't even get close. And then, of course, I'm going to go with best worst question. And this is a Ray Comfort movie, so you know I mean it. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say Ray's got a weird ask for pro-choice people in this movie, and we will get to it.
Yeah, start the countdown now. All right, well, if I'm going to recap yet another Ray Comfort Ray walking movie, I'm going to need to take up alcoholism, so we're going to pause for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into all the psychologically abusive street harassment that is 7 Reasons.
From the makers of 180 and 7 Reasons.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Will you let me cut off your foot?
Comes a movie about not understanding where your body stops and another person's body begins.
What? No.
But it's my foot. I believe in my heart that that's my foot, and I need it to be free.
Because of a 2,000-year-old book and a blatant disregard for medicine convinces you.
No, it's my foot.
My foot.
Then why the fuck not?
It's not, though.
It is. It's my foot.
This summer, the 7 180s of Give Me Your Foot.
Free me, Ray. I'm your foot, and I love you. That was your foot. Your foot just said that.
Okay.
And we're back for the breakdown, and we're going to open up with a montage of people giving us justification for abortion. Like, you know how men are constantly called upon to morally justify vasectomies? It's like the lady equivalent of that, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh.
We also have a little montage of Ray's future questions, and the very first one that he's got this movie is, did you feel bad when you killed your baby?
Oh,
we are 32 seconds in. Ray has spoken 9 words, and he's already irredeemably the bad guy at this point, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know, Ray. Did you feel good when you stopped beating your wife? Let's play this game.
So he does a little bit of that, and then he goes like, back in 2011, I released a movie that was guaranteed by its own marketing to make people stop approving of abortion with just 3 questions. Millions of people saw it. Nobody changed their mind. So now I did the same thing again.
I have another one.
Yeah, he says, since then, nothing has changed. And I'm just going to say the stock footage they have in there. Well, it says, since then, meaning 2011, there is footage of the motherfucking Nazis. Like, literally, this is under a minute. This is second 52 of the movie. Under a minute. And we already have fucking Nazis on the screen that have literally nothing to do with anything. Oh my God. This fucking movie.
No, he just had to pre-Godwin it and shit. And then we get a bunch of these news clips, but they all start with ellipses, right? It's just a person like he's cutting in on mid-sentence saying like a newscaster going, legalizing abortion up until birth. Back to you, Dave. I love the only whole sentences he can use is from Fox News, and even then he can't use the answers to the question.
I love that quote because literally up until birth, it is abortion. Like after that, it's not abortion anymore.
After that, it's just a hobby.
Yeah.
And then we get a very quick clip of Anthony Levatino doing his testimony? Because, if you can't trust a guy who literally had a cameo in the movie unplanned, who can you trust, really?
Yeah.
That's who that was?
So let's talk about Anthony Levatino. Levatino stopped performing abortions when his 6-year-old got hit by a car.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how your ideas about medical information change in a totally unrelated car accident?
Yep.
Yeah. The
totally.
nicest possible thing to say about Anthony Levatino is that he dealt with his daughter's death by projecting something he knew wasn't real onto his job.
Yeah.
That's the best thing? Oh,
That's
wow.
the nicest thing we can say about Anthony Levatino.
Also, okay, so he's describing how second trimester abortions are done or whatever, and he's making it sound really gross. And it's like, yeah, it's a medical procedure. Right? I could tell you about anybody. I've had a colonoscopy. Let me describe that to you in fucking detail here. This was nowhere near as disturbing as, remember Eli telling the story of how he tried to get that stool sample to his doctor? It was nowhere near as disturbing as that.
That's true. And imagine this. No one has to open up a package filled with my abortion, right?
Well,
There's a guy out there who
Ray
probably
Yeah,
still works.
If I'm committed to this bit, man. I don't know if I'll be able to abortion on a plate correctly, but
Runs in the family.
It's worth a try. I love to, right at the end of this little montage, he just shows this completely out of context clip of him talking to this one girl going, "Are you changing your mind?" And she says, "Yeah, because I watched the whole movie all the way through and didn't chicken out." And then we get our hard rock intro. It says 7 reasons. And we've got this weird horror movie soundtrack in the background of just a montage of people saying, "I feel like women should have the right to choose."
yeah, this is how I feel at the beginning of all horror movies, actually. It's kind of perfect that they did that music because at the beginning, everybody's happy. They have a great life. There aren't any ghosts that sleep in their closets or anything like that. Everybody's happy.
They're just going to the cabin. Yeah.
This is what it's like with Ray Comfort movies because these people are just chilling on campus. They're like, yeah, you know what? I will talk to this guy who's asking me about abortion. I think I might actually be able to change his mind. And then slowly we see Ray beat them down and wear them down until they either have to walk away or say some fucking affirmative so they can edit it in to make them sound like they've got a victory or something.
Yes.
It's awful.
Yeah, and you can just watch them realizing that, okay, man, my dealer's going to be here any fucking minute, and then it's going to be awkward because I'm going to be on camera.
Oh, no, your friend can come here. What? Oh, that's cool. You guys do a little handshake where you give him $200. That's nice of you. Kids these days, the $200 handshake. I got to remember that.
I love this. Maybe that's why Heath wound up with that dollar. I don't know. We were figuring all kind of shit out.
Oh.
So
that's canon now.
The truth comes out.
We also, we're going to meet a bunch of the, man on the street interviewees at this point. And I love this one woman who explains to us, she's like, I don't, have a problem with abortion, but some people take advantage. My cousin had 5 abortions. I'm like, in a row?
Recreationally? Was she going for a record?
Was it just quintuplets?
I started calling her the cousin of abortion Abigail.
My cousin, Abortion Abby. Well, I tell you what, that seemed like every damn weekend. Well, and then, of course, another random lady can't pin down exactly when a fetus graduates to baby, so,
Right. And again, this is a common, anti-choice argument, is that, hey, you, random stranger on the street, tell me the exact second fetal cells turn into a baby. Otherwise, it's a soul from conception.
Yes. Right. Tell me exactly where toll begins.
Or you're a murderer. Or you can't have dentistry done.
Or Heath doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right.
Well, Ray keeps on coming back to, did you know its heart starts beating at 3 weeks? Well, first of all, no. According to Mayo Clinic, that is not when the baby's heart first starts. It hasn't even formed at that order.
No, it
yet.
doesn't have a heart. Yeah,
it doesn't have a fucking heart.
There is a beat. Yeah.
But then also, by that logic, is someone a human when they're having a heart attack?
Right. Right. Is it okay for me to kill people who have artificial hearts? I mean.
Yeah. Heart transplant. Are you suddenly a new person? Or a cow in some cases?
Flash cut over to Ray in an operating room during a heart transplant. Doctor takes it out of the guy's chest. He's just like, you can kill that guy right now. Just so you know, I do not consider him a human being.
Yes. Also, so he keeps asking people, so then he moves on, he starts asking them, like, when is it okay to kill a baby in the womb? Right? That is the closest to an honest question he ever gives. And then, this is the best. He goes, if you had to kill a baby, how would you do it?
My favorite, best, worst question. I have never been more ready. Look, I'm not saying that there aren't miracles in the world, although there aren't. I'm just saying if I had been asked this question, I'd believe in them.
I wrote in my notes, I'm like, if Ray ever made the mistake of asking Eli this question, he'd be fully clothed in a shower, rocking back and forth for 3 presidential administrations.
Basketball hoop covered in razor wires. Ray, stay with me. Here's the idea.
No, but that's good, because even if you miss, it's not like they're going to make it. You know, it'll just be less messy.
You can make it like a slam off and get Shaq and some people to do it for charity. I've got ideas, Ray. Call me.
The layups would be great. All right.
God.
So now he introduces the framework for the movie. He asks this one lady, he's like, can you give me some good reasons for abortion? And then this title card comes in all staticky and horror movie. And it goes, 1, the inconvenience of pregnancy. Now,
Ray.
the first lady says, and this is, inconvenience. That's his word choice. The first lady says, like, hey, if you don't have enough money to take care of the baby, you shouldn't have a baby.
To which Ray responds, oh, yeah? How come you can afford an abortion, which costs 50 million pennies, if you can't afford a baby, which is significantly more than that?
Yeah, right. Well, even to get here, he has to lie, right? He says, abortion clinics will be happy to kill your baby for $3,000, which is 10 times the average cost of a fucking abortion. Right? He quotes, like, because I looked this up afterwards, he quotes, like, the highest possible price. Everything I looked at says, hey, depending on where you're at, it's $350 to $500 or whatever, but it could be as high as $3,000 if everything went wrong for you. Also, keep in mind, it'd be lower if the government would subsidize it like they do with every other medical treatment a poor person might need, but because of fucking Ray and admitting privileges and the doors have to be 8 feet wide bullshit, they can't.
Right.
Yeah. I would like to say that the stock footage at this point in the movie when he's like, oh, it's so cheap to raise a baby, is like this pregnant belly, and then this hand rubs it wearing this golf ball sized diamond. Like, I saved so much by having this baby that I could afford this gaudy fucking ring.
Oh, by the way, I want to. Sorry, I'm still pissed about. I'm continuing my last rant. In the states that are sympathetic to Ray's point of view, the cost of getting to the one abortion clinic that's still open in the state is more expensive than the goddamn procedure. I just think that should also get thrown in there.
Absolutely.
Oh, he says at one point, he's like, "But wouldn't the government help you out with welfare?" Yeah, because kids on welfare do just as good as all the other kids. They do just as good as the white kids. Sorry, Joe Biden was me and Joe were.
Also, Ray, buddy, know your audience. You're not working to a pro-welfare crowd. I'm just picturing some old lady at home on YouTube being like, but not welfare, but baby, welfare, baby. It's the end of war games.
Yes.
The only way to abort Ray's baby is not to play.
So, and then at one point, one woman's like, she's talking about all the sacrifices a woman has to make to be a mother. And Ray's like, your mom sacrificed for you, didn't she? And then and of course, the one person we see is the person who is so stoned that seemed like a good point to them at that moment. It's like, yeah, she aborted the first kid. And then later she made this. That's why I am going to college instead of jail.
Poor abortion Abigail's cousin. She says she's like, you touched me. That touched me in my heart. She's been touched in the heart by Ray Comfort. Kids, don't touch people in the heart.
And don't let Ray touch your heart.
Yeah, that's what makes you human, according to Ray.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let people touch you in the heart. The more you know.
So, All right. So then we move on to point number 2. Incompetence of parents. Because apparently he thinks he refuted point 1, I guess.
And he's found a stoned teenager who seems to think that all homeless people should have been aborted. I don't know what the edit here is, but it's what it seems like that teenager is.
And here's the
I
thing.
love emo teenager.
If emo teenager says, well, of course abortion should be legal, look at all them homeless people, they'd be better off dead. It is so hard to respond in such a way as to make me like you less than the person that just said that.
Yeah.
But boy, does Ray manages it.
Well, also, the lady talking before him is like, oh yeah, well, like kids could come into an abusive household. He's like, quick, cut away, talk to the emo kid about the homelessness instead.
So then Ray Comfort waxes poetic about the joys of homelessness.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, homeless people are having a great time. They hang out all day. They got free food. That little cloth sack on a stick. They love it.
He goes, you keep warm under, this is his actual words. He goes, you keep warm under your bridge.
Yup.
Churches give you a free meal. The government gives you a paycheck. Where the fuck does he think they're sending those checks?
Also, where the fuck is this haven, this temperate haven where all the weather is warm? It's warm enough to sleep under a fucking bridge. It's not fucking New York, I can tell you that.
I think Ray Comfort thinks Big Rock Candy Mountain is real. Like, I feel like he listens to this, he's going to be really upset.
It's where all the homeless people go.
Also, just a little insight into Rafe's thing here. While he's making that argument, he goes, no, I've walked up to homeless people and said, yeah, let me give you a shower. Let me get you dressed. Let me get you a job. And they say no. And I guarantee you that's just Ray being like, yeah, they won't even let me shower them. Oh, there's so many homeless people. Let me give you a good scrub. And they'll say, no, I'm not homeless. Get out of my house. It's a whole thing.
Oh, my God.
I love, too, that this is coming from the guy who got so bitchy when he had to give his subway cars to homeless people. Right? But here's the thing, though. Ray argues at this moment that homeless people are homeless on purpose because they're lazy and they don't want to work or whatever. But he doesn't have to. Right? It's not even relevant to the point he's making. He's just adding new assholery.
He was sitting there at the whiteboard of whatever writing this movie was, and he was like, guys, we have got to hit on how awesome it is to be homeless. Trust me. It'll change a lot of people's minds. Also, there's just this tiny moment, but it led me down a terrifying Google rabbit hole.
Oh, no.
He's like, at one point, he's like, oh, you know, you could give it away for adoption. And because it's Ray, the only example Ray could think of for adoption is a white lady holding a black baby. Oh, and I was like, that's distasteful. Ray's a racist. But then I Google imaged adoption. It is like 85% white people holding black babies.
Is it really?
Oh, no.
Google Images need to get their shit together.
Google Images do better. Oh, man.
All right. So now we've got a little animation for you.
The diagram. Oh, I love it. I love this animation.
This is so good. The fucking fetus might as well be popping out of random doors in a hallway while the suction tube chases it. And, oh, it's fucking amazing. All the little arms pop off like a Barbie doll or something.
And then one gets stuck on the way out.
Yes.
They can't get one of the arms off. It was like Monty Python's Flying Circus did the animation for this. I expected the arm because it like literally just flops down in the womb and like stays there, like wiggles a little bit, flops around like a fish. I expected it to get up and start sidling off the screen, and then a giant foot comes down and stomps his flesh.
Yeah, right. It shoots us a bird or something. Gets stuck in there like Augustus Gloop.
Pregnant lady is at a talent agent's office. She's like, come on, fetus, come on. And then she leaves. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. All right, you're getting the vacuum cleaner.
Okay. So, and I love too, because we see this over and over again as Ray's trying to wrap up with his people. He keeps trying to get him to say, yes, I've changed my mind. But then he just wants him to say yes to anything. So he keeps underbidding, right? Like he'll go like,
yep.
So do you agree with me? Are you going to vote against abortion? All right. Are you going to at least think about what I said? Oh, you can at least consider thinking about, can you think of any words that start with Y and rhyme with guess?
That's what I love about fucking emo kid, though, because he tries so hard with him. He's like, yeah, but like, what do you think? Are you going to be voting differently? And he's like, yeah, that's up to society, and I don't really get with society. I just try to live my own life, you know? And then he's like, but you're part of society. And he literally says, no. No.
He whispers. He whispers no in response to "you are part of society." Good for you, emo kid. Good. Like you didn't say it for the right reasons, but you nailed it, buddy.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have to say, I actually got 40-point font levels of pissed off at the homelessness bit. So I need an early break this week. And while I take that, we're going to pause for a quick word from this week's sponsor, Wix.com. Hey, Anna, what you doing?
Oh, hey, Noah. Just monitoring my websites.
Wait, you run websites?
Yeah. I figure if I buy them and set them up first, then, you know, Eli can't commit a felony.
Oh, smart. But I didn't realize you knew how to code and stuff.
Oh, I don't. I use Wix.com.
What's Wix.com?
Well, it's the easiest and best way to make your ideas a reality. See, I've got and .com.
Wait, you had to buy .com?
Yeah. He's been reading a lot of C.S. Lewis.
Oh, no, I get it. But doesn't building all those websites take a ton of time?
Not with Wix. With their easy-to-use website API, I just enter what I need and it builds the website for me. Plus, Wix lets you build your website before you make a purchase.
Wow, that looks great.
It does. And it's so easy with Wix's collection of drag-and-drop tools. No code required. Get started now by going to Wix.com. That's Wix.com/podcast and get 10% off.
Wix.com/podcast, huh? All right. Well, keep up the good work. Hey, out of curiosity, can you actually order the butter from?
Nah. I just take it out of the fridge and put it in the mailbox.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
And we're back for more of this shit. Now, we've already worked our way through the first 2 reasons and learned that pregnant women need to suck it the fuck up. Now we're back to point number 3, where we're going to learn that the fetus needs to suck it up too, because reason 3 is the baby has disabilities. Oh, sorry, Ray, I'm going to fix that title for you. 3, the baby would have disabilities.
Oh, man, I was really hoping it was going to switch over to an interview with Richard Dawkins, but it doesn't. No.
So I was thinking a razor wire around a basketball hoop. Yeah, so he says, and you know, of course, this is so obviously like, now let's talk about how much atheists and abortionists hate people with disabilities, you know.
Yep.
Tell me, how would you kill a shmushma baby? You know what I'm saying? Like a shmushma.
He goes, all right, well, what if it was already born and then they found out it had disabilities? And then everybody's like, well, then it would be a baby.
Yeah.
So
what the fuck is this scenario? It's already out and it's on the table. No, that's not, you can't retroactively abort something. It's already born.
What if I stuff it back up into the womb?
Well, and that's what's terrifying that gets revealed about this mindset whenever we do these movies, is that Ray doesn't seem to understand the difference between something inside your body and outside of your body.
Yes.
Now, if I wanted a bite of your sandwich, the one I just ate, yeah. No, man, you can't have one. Shearing's nice, though. Yeah.
I also love there's this one woman where he kind of tricks her into saying yes because she doesn't realize what question. He just is like, did you just change your mind? And she says, yes. He's like, did I trick you by changing the parameters of the debate without you noticing? Then edit out the part where you said, wait, what? Also, yes.
Nailed it. Good job, Ray. You're winning.
Yeah, the shortest question ever because he just completely changes the fucking question.
Right. He's like, oh, so you wouldn't kill a baby that was already born that was laying there disabled and asking you for help? No, I wouldn't. So did you just change your mind about abortion? What? And I love, too, because apparently Ray can't like, because every other one goes on forever. Every other point goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, and he just rambles endlessly. Ray could not come up with more than 60 seconds worth of good reasons not to murder a disabled person, so we quickly move on.
I've got one. What if it turns out to be homeless? Then it'll just have a nice life, but it won't appreciate it because it's so disabled. It'll be like, oil can. You know what I'm saying, right?
And now we get to number 4, where we're going to apparently knock down the it's her body myth.
Oh,
Ray Comfort will now disprove whether or not a baby grows inside a woman's body.
Jeez, okay, given the arguments he's used up to this point, I would be 0% surprised if he says, well, if her body didn't belong to a man, why would her father have to give her away at the wedding? Right? Jesus. And then we get, and this always comes up in these abortion movies, and I fucking love it, especially from Christians, because he says, well, he talks about like fetal homicide bills, right? So if you kill a pregnant woman's fetus, you're charged with a homicide. And it's like, wow, it's like depriving her of that choice would be a criminal act. Weird. But, but also I want to point out, because this so rarely gets pointed out, Mosaic law contradicts this. The Bible disagrees with this.
It sure does.
The Bible has separate laws for if you kill a human being or if you cause a miscarriage. So either you're saying that secular law is superior or your point is moot, Ray.
I wanted so badly for one of these interviewees to just be like, oh, no, I'm in one of the sanctuary cities next to... And he's like, oh, well, God, you got me.
You're not allowed to revenge kill you now. Damn it. Yeah, and then he starts asking, when does a baby become a baby in the womb?
Jesus Christ.
That is 3 levels of leading bullshit question, right? That's like nonsense cubed. When does a baby become a baby?
Right. And again, the whole point being that, like, at what point does a baby, like, somehow not exist outside of your body, which, by the way, is not the it's a woman's body argument, right?
No.
The it's a woman's body argument is, hey, Ray, you know how if I need a kidney transplant, I can't just tackle you to the ground, put you in a sleeper hold, and take a kidney? Doesn't matter whether that baby's a fucking tenured professor at Yale. It's not allowed to use your body. So the question that you need to ask, that you never will, is when does a baby stop using a woman's body? And that is when it is born.
Yes,
when it is born.
It becomes
exactly.
a baby. Yes, we have a word for that. It's baby.
Words mean things. It is yeah.
Do you have the right to just kill whatever tapeworm you have inside you?
Leave it to Ray to turn the part that's about a woman's body into pedophilia and Nazis somehow.
Oh my! His actual, because the one girl says, "Well, I trust my conscience," and then Ray's actual question is, very slight paraphrase, yes, but what if I want to fuck a child?
A child. Oh my God. The similarities between my husband and Ray are getting too.
Oh shit!
Oh God.
The lick. That's what
God.
happened. Is he infected him with the lick.
Oh, Ray's aware
no.
atheist? There's our movie. Fuck God Awful Movies, the movie. It's about a Christian apologist who gets licked by an atheist.
Becomes aware atheist.
No.
Wakes up, his hands covered in pornography. Oh no! What have I done?
I love too that the reason he brings up pedophilia here is apparently is to make the point that your conscience can't be trusted as your moral guide. My conscience will handle it. Right?
Yes. Or worse, my book that tells you how much you have to pay in damages when you rape someone's slave.
That actually says pedophilia is fine in that book, by the way.
Right.
Ray, you want to go over some ages in this book? I really don't. How
old was the Virgin Mary there, right? Hey, and then he goes, quick, before you think about that, hey, let's talk about Nazis, huh? It's been almost 12 minutes since I compared Noah and Eli and Anna to one of those, huh?
They thought Jews were fetuses. What?
He goes, Nazis justified killing Jews by saying they weren't human. It's like, that's also how I justify killing bugs, Ray. This falls apart when they're actually not humans. This argument, you see.
Yeah, it's in there and it's not one of your organs, so it's a gift of God. by that standard, a tumor is a gift from God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, certainly.
So is a hemorrhoid.
You show up to heaven 40 years after beating cancer. God's all pissy with you. Just like, no, it's fine. I gave you that tumor, and it's fine. It's fine.
No, it's just fine. There was plenty of other bone marrow I could have put that cancer in, too. But you know what? Fuck you. Oh, okay.
I'll just get you a gift receipt next time. God, don't get me a gift card. Don't be that guy.
So, just in case you weren't disgusted enough just yet, point number 5 is titled Rape or Incest.
Good for you, Ray.
Oh,
coming out
bud.
against the bodily autonomy of rape victims.
Boy, doesn't he.
Here's the thing, right? I know I'm alone in this, but I have moments where I'm sympathetic to Ray, right? When I was watching Banana Man, where he explained that everyone just didn't understand his stand-up routine and how great it was, my heart ached a little for a full-grown man who had to make a movie about how he's not stupid, you're stupid. And then he makes something like this. And I'm like, oh, okay, fuck you. Fuck you forever.
Yeah, exactly. At 14 minutes, 8 seconds of this movie, Ray Comfort describes carrying a rape fetus to term as, quote, an inconvenience.
An inconvenience. You heard it here first, everybody.
And by the way, he means for it to sound that dismissive. That's the point, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah, be inconvenient, I guess.
Oh, I have had the worst day. The tunnel is doing that thing where it slits down to one lane, so the traffic was a nightmare. A baby was raped into me, and I had to carry it to term.
So
and then I show up to Bear Burger, and they've only got the Beyond Burgers. Am I right?
Jesus. I love to, because there's there are several women in this movie that I love, and I want to pay for the fucking rest of their educations now.
Seriously.
Starting with this little Latina girl who he says, how would you kill a baby? She says, I'd go to an abortion clinic.
He's like, nailed it.
And then he actually has one person who's sympathetic to him. He says, like, they're like, well, actually, no, I'm against abortion. And she says, and he's like, well, if you're against abortion, why aren't you out making YouTube videos about it like a person who really cares?
Oh.
Right?
She's like, because I just said that so you'd leave me alone.
Well, he makes the analogy of, imagine you saw a baby in a car, trapped in a car.
Yes.
And it reminds me of all those, like, the videos of people breaking into car windows when they see a dog trapped in there. And let's just say Ray is no longer allowed in a pregnancy ward. It's hot in there. You didn't crack a window. The baby needs AC.
He's holding their mouths open and blowing into them. I got in a lot more trouble when I went low on this, so now I use the mouth. And he gets so pounded in this section. This is like one of the women that he's talking to. This is Adriana. We all love Adriana.
We love Adriana.
Oh, Adriana.
But at one point she goes like, well, I've got some friends who had abortions and they feel really guilty about it later. And he goes, oh, really? Why you think they feel guilty? And she goes, mostly because of assholes like you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, she does. Oh,
he's getting pounded in this section and he thinks he's winning. It's like, it's the rape and incest section. Ray, you're going to lose this one.
There's a reason why they write exemptions into the laws when they're on your side.
Yes. I also love, like, every time somebody says abort during their response, he'll like grab the microphone and says killing a child and then put the microphone. It's like arguing with a 6-year-old, right?
Why hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
Also, I feel like, if I recall correctly, one of the women it like comes out pro puppy drowning.
Yeah, that's Adriana. Look, Adriana's not great on everything. At one point, Ray is comparing women to a dog full of puppies, which is not awesome. Not a great argumentation. And he's like, I mean, would you just let them drown all their puppies? And she's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And then there's a pause where both of them are just like, ugh.
Well, one, that actually does happen to people who didn't realize their dog was pregnant. That is a thing that happens a lot, actually. But also, like, Ray, do you know where veal comes from?
Yeah.
Like,
right. Right, exactly. Like it's gonna be real awkward when he tries this shit on a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Oh, great, amazing idea. Hear me out. We trick Ray into going to a PETA convention, and then just the crazy negates itself. Like they'll run at each other from across the room, and at the end, they'll just be a normal guy with normal opinions.
Yeah, right. It'll be like a antimatter collision or something.
It'll just be Heath.
At one point, Adriana, he's going like, well, what's the difference between a fetus in a womb and a baby out there in a stroller? And Adriana goes, quote, your question is, I don't want to say retarded.
Because you could tell Adriana's of the generation of going, that's retarded. And so she knows that's a slur. So she's just like, how do I say I hated your question and you because of it?
And then it's a certain point with Adriana, he goes like, I can tell I'm getting through to you. And she's like, no, I still disagree with you every bit as much. And his actual rebuttal is, your mouth may be saying no, but your eyes are saying yes.
Oh, my God.
This is the rape section. Jesus Christ. She's trying so hard not to kill him with her teeth. The fact that she made it is so good.
Yeah.
She deserves some kind of peace prize.
She does.
After Colonel General Al-Mufti Aman stopped the fightings in Somalia, also Adrian didn't punch Ray Comfort right in his fat face. They're going to share this Nobel.
And just in case you didn't already love Adriana, I need to play you the clip of the end of their interaction. Here it goes.
What I'm trying to do is change your mind about future children that could be aborted because you don't vote pro-life. And I'm just saying, please think about what you're doing.
Vote for choice.
Thank you for sharing your heart. I really appreciate it, and I hope you'll think about what we talked about.
I really won't. Thank you, though. Have a nice day.
I really won't. Oh,
But thank you.
She's my hero. Adriana,
I fucking love this woman.
I don't know if you're listening, but if you are, reach out. We have some merch for you.
Adriana, I will have your baby.
Yeah.
I will carry your baby to term, Adriana.
Getting a very tasteful tattoo of your face on my body. I want your approval. I want your blessing.
All right. Well, I think we all might need to pause for a minute to write some love poems to Adriana. But first, let me give Act 3 the hard sell. Does Ray Comfort need to rub some ointment on that burn? Why the fuck would he keep that in his movie? Did EZ splice that in at the last second because they had a fight? Find out the answers to these questions and more when we return for the third trimester of 7 Reasons.
Hi, I'm Ray Comfort. You know, we've had a lot of fun here today on God Awful Movies, but if you take anything away from today's movie, it's this. Being homeless is awesome. With the sun at your back and your eyes towards the clear blue sky, being homeless is basically just getting paid free money to enjoy the soft summer breeze. What could be better? Just listen to these satisfied homeless people. Hi, it's me, Hobo Joe. As long as I've got tobacco in my pipe, I'm a happy lad. That's right, Hobo Joe. Hi, I'm Hobo Jane, and the sexual assault and trafficking rates among homeless women are astronomical, but at least I've always got a song in my heart. She sure does. I'm Ray Comfort, and I don't just lack empathy, I lack the information from which empathy is formed. Now, who's up for some beans? Yay! Hooray! The suicide rate for homeless people is 10 times higher, and to suggest that their existence is somehow carefree is monstrous. What? I mean, yay!
And we're back for still more of this shit. 5 points down, 2 to go, and we're going to open up with number 6, I'm Not Ready for a Baby, which is just number 2, but less judgy and in the first person. Right?
Also, the only reason one needs for an abortion, so it's not.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I feel so bad. There's like this one Abigail, Abortion Abby's cousin.
Yep.
She goes like, I know I'm selfish and evil, but I would get an abortion.
She has such low self-esteem. I just want to give her a giant atheism hug and be like, you're not evil to want an education.
Yeah. And it's, look, this is what Ray is doing to women on purpose for a living.
Yeah. And this was probably the worst time for me to take a break so I could watch this week's Handmaid's Tale. Yeah. Because then
Her
I
notes
came
come back
here
with a vengeance.
and I was like, all caps.
He goes at one point, he says to her, he goes, so you are you saying that education is a good reason to kill the baby? And she goes, well, when you put it like that, no. I'm like, okay, well, what if I use the English words that mean those things and say, so education is a good reason to have an abortion? It doesn't sound that bad now, does it? Jesus, and keep in mind, these are all a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids. I mean, I know that you're not a kid at 19. Well, I'm 43, right? You know, I look at a 19-year-old and I'm just like, oh, it's a kid. I could beat almost any 19-year-old kid in an argument with any fucking proposition.
On any subject.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a fetus. I don't want to argue with you.
You can destroy a 19-year-old and the sky is green,
Yes.
right? They're going to... All of these kids are 4 sentences away from crying.
All right, yeah, so then we do another fucking Mad Lib montage where he's going like, okay, it's okay to kill a baby in the womb when...
Oh, and this is what I thought Eli meant by best question. Wow.
Well, see, what I love is, Noah, you accidentally corrected his intonation because he doesn't say when. He goes, it's okay to kill a baby in the womb when? Because he doesn't know how sentences are structured. He knows he's asking a question. So he just keeps doing that over and over. So, all right, great. Fill in the blank here. It's okay to kill a baby. When? And they're just like, why are you doing that weird? What?
When you don't want it there anymore, Ray.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not a fucking baby when the heart beats. It's a fetus.
That's
And
why
words
we
mean
have
things.
these. Look, it's funny. Ray always forgets those bonus 9 months when he's telling people his age, right? It's almost like this is selective bullshit. Jesus. And then we watch, like, for several minutes, we watch people not answer his question. There's so much pensive staring in this scene. It's starting to make Ryan Gosling uncomfortable. Jesus. He says, and then he starts citing the Bible, or at least pretending to. He says it's also wrong to. It also says in the Bible that it's wrong to kill a baby in the womb. But no, it doesn't.
Nope.
No, it doesn't.
There's actually specific instructions in the Bible
On how to do. Yeah, wait. No, if you want a good laugh, go to a Christian anti-abortion site and look at the biblical references they're trying to twist into the Bible, saying that abortion is bad. Right? He goes at one point. I don't know what he was trying to say here. He goes like conscience is no good. It drives people to drink and to suicide, and it's God-given. And then there's just this hard cut while Ray beats his head against the concrete until he's forgotten the last couple of minutes, I guess. Whoops. That happens once in a while. Sorry. MIB, that flashy thing, that's not real, by the way. You gotta do this.
He also circles back to this argument that keeps being used of, like, animals don't kill their offspring. Why is it okay if you do? Animals absolutely do kill their own offspring. In fact, they mostly eat them.
What does he think they're doing? Right? Like he says, do you know of any animals that kill their own offspring? And I'm like, do you know of one that doesn't? What the fuck are you even talking about? I remember, okay, so just quick story. When I worked at Dollywood, there was this little duck that was right next to our booth, and there's a bunch of kids that hung out at our booth, and we watched the duck for weeks and weeks. She had eggs up there, right? And she's hatching her eggs. She goes, lays on her eggs and everything. And right before we leave, the eggs hatch out. So all the kids that are hanging out watch the eggs hatch out and watch the duck. And then she kills the last one, right? Because it's a weakling or whatever, and that's what ducks do. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling all the kids, it looks like she's got to clean that one up. Let's move on and let her do that thing. It's like you cannot.
She's giving him a bath.
Very aggressively, kids. But yes, of fucking course animals kill their offspring.
Right, and this brings us to the paradigm shift moment, right?
Oh my God.
Where he's like, all right, are you ready for this? A man gives his seat to a blind guy.
Oh,
Is that good? On a bus. And the person's like, yeah, it's nice. And he's like, he's the driver.
Zing!
My riddle. Do you see? Do you see how when you think of fetuses as bus drivers, abortion is wrong? What am I doing?
He says, no, apparently, by the way, that's a paradigm shift, according to Ray. I was pretty sure it was a shitty joke, but no, it's a paradigm shift, apparently.
Does anyone else, and maybe this is just an us thing, because, like, no, you were a juggler, I'm a magician, so, like, You ever watch someone who's been doing their act for so long lose their place in the script and jump back into another place but not notice?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that is what this movie is for Ray. He's like, here, let me change your mind. Are you a good person? How would you kill a baby? What time is it? A showtime. Like he mailed this one in is what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. Oh, God, he goes into the if you hate someone, you're a murderer thing. I'm like, man, I am murdering the fuck out of you right now.
Oh. Also, he says if you use a filth word.
A filth word.
A filth
Is
word.
swear a swear
I don't know.
in Ray's mind?
So,
A filth word.
I love that so much.
This is from the guy who spells out God when he has to say
right.
it. So.
Have you ever said GD or another filth word? Oh, God. So, yeah, we're at 25 minutes, 8 seconds before we get the are you a good person shtick. He actually uses the Jeremiah quote. Now, this is the number one quote that anti-abortion folks, the Christians, will use to prove.
I fucking love this
This
quote.
is the quote. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. That is the closest they can get in the entire fucking Bible. Keep in mind, he's not talking to you, the reader. He's talking to Jeremiah at that point. So, and that means that life begins, by the way, way before conception. Right? Unless, of course, you read the other parts of the Bible where it says that the soul enters into the body on its first breath, which it says over and over and over again in the Bible.
Yeah, or all the parts where the Bible's like, here's how to cause an abortion, just in case, you want to get a Bronze Age education.
Right, yes. And then we're back to Nazis again, because apparently 6 million Jews died for your right to not have an abortion.
Sure.
Oh, and then we get Hardcore Kid. We have this great moment where, like, Ray is obviously talking to a kid who has seen some shit. This kid has 1,000-yard stare, and he's trying his, have you ever stolen something? And the kid, whether he's bluffing or not, is like, yeah, I stole food to feed my starving family. And Ray's like, you could have gone to a church soup kitchen.
All right, Jean Valjean, you're going to hell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, God, when he's doing a whole filth word point, at one point, he's like trying to convince somebody why they should not say the God's name in vain or whatever. And he starts like listing all the great things that God has given you. But it's the random Eli looking around the room trying to think of a name thing, right? He basically just says God gave you hats. His actual examples are taste buds and America.
In all fairness, she is wearing one of the ugliest hats. It's like obviously hot day, and she's like got this weird beanie on that looks homemade because like you can see the stitches being pulled out. Anyway.
Maybe that's why he didn't go with hats. That was his original thing, was to say God gave you hats, and then he looked at her hat and he's like, fuck, taste buds.
Nope. God didn't give you that hat.
That's the devil's work.
And now, of course, Ray gets distracted now because we have a do you know what death is side panel.
I fucking love this. So Cruella de Vil, drawn by Lisa Frank, gets this question, and she's like, he says, do you know what death is?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. She doesn't know what death
I've
is?
never heard of this word.
I
of which
feel
you
like this may have been taken out of context.
Well, but so Ray explains what death is. It's like going to see an old-timey judge, apparently. He keeps telling all of these children, God's going to kill you because you deserve it. How do you not know you're the villain in this fucking movie, dude?
He also, at this point, explains to her that he's got tears in his heart for her.
Oh, Ray!
That's blood, Ray. That's blood.
That's blood. Also, watch out, because that's what makes you a human, according to you.
Yeah,
So
right. If your heart
tears
starts
in
crying,
there,
you're no
watch
longer
out.
human.
I fucking love it when people try to explain Christian doctrine to other people. It sounds so. I don't know if you have a friend who watches the OA. This is a fun little thing. Go and ask them to describe the plot of OA to you in 5 minutes, and you will get the craziest nut job, like, word vomit you've ever heard. This is a challenge.
All right, it's not a show. It's a relationship. Yeah, exactly.
It is. This is exactly how I feel when people try to tell me about Christian doctrine. And he's just like going on. This section was literally called, what was this section? This was, I'm not ready for a baby. And he's talking about angels. And after you die, you're still, anyway, it's insane.
And let's keep in mind that if you just, cut away all the florid language and everything, what he's doing is literally threatening to have his invisible friends kill and torture these children in that order if they vote for Democrats. Right? Because he closes every one of them saying, you're going to vote for pro-life now, aren't you? Right? He tells this one kid, he's like, now, have you heard about this Jesus fellow that died for your sins? And the guy's like, dude, I'm not punching you right now. That seems like, I feel like I'm doing more than my fair share.
Poor black lipstick girl was apparently in a hurry when she was stopped by this guy and decided to listen to this bullshit.
I love this. Like when he's given his OA explanation or whatever, there's like all of these shots of people who are just clearly waiting for their turn to speak as soon as he stops his sentence, but it's a ceaseless sentence that eventually just loops back around on itself.
Yeah.
And he's presenting that as like, look, they're really chewing on my words. They're really listening to it. And they keep going like, but
anyway. Okay.
Everyone's yawning and tapping their watch.
Yeah, right.
Slowly backing away.
And it's like, so yeah, you'll think about this later. You'll take this pamphlet. And she's like, yeah, I'll promise I'll think about it later. Like,
not now.
Like year or two. Honestly, as soon as I turn the corner, I'm throwing this pamphlet out. Like,
do you want to put your pamphlet in the garbage so to save us both some time?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So he gets done with his whole, like, Jesus didn't die on the cross so you could vote for Elizabeth fucking Warren bit. And then we get back to the underbidding, right? Like he goes at one point, he says, now, Brian, has anything I've said made any sense at all? And Brian goes, a little bit. And he's like, there we go, victory. Nailed it.
Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?
Brian, I just need you to say, yes, I speak English, and I'll handle the rest in the end.
And then, we also get the close on that one conversation I had with that girl that was like very clearly uncomfortable, right?
Oh.
And yeah, the girl who's like, hey, thanks so much for telling me that my mom didn't abort me. I didn't know that. All right, bye.
And he even recognizes it, like when he's like closing up with her, he goes, look, I know this has made you very uncomfortable, but I just kept fucking doing it, didn't I? I just know when I was shitting all over your week. I still don't realize I'm the villain even now.
Yeah.
And then, she thanks Ray for her mom not aborting her. All right, so about here, Ray remembers that he was doing a list, and then we get to number 7. It's not a baby.
It's not, Ray. We've established it's not a fucking baby. It's a fetus. Never. He hasn't even said the word fetus this entire time.
No.
So Ray's pulling out the big guns now, which is his completely inaccurate picture of a 3-week-old fetus.
Oh, wait. No. He says, its heart starts beating at 3 weeks. Well, here's a 9-week-old fetus. And the reason he does that is because at 3 weeks, it is a fucking wad of gum with a weird sort of like caterpillar thing, squishy, fleshy caterpillar, like stuck onto its back. It looks more like a face sucker than a baby.
Yes. If you show a 3-week-old baby, people are like, I would step on that. That looks gross.
Yeah, that's gross. Disgusting.
Are you trying to save some kind of species of monarch butterfly? What are you doing, man?
Yeah, he's like, babies have heartbeats at 3 weeks. Here's a picture of a baby 3 times that old. But notice when they show the picture, there's not like a golf ball eclipsing it for like context or whatever, right? This is the size of a goddamn cherry. That's how old a fetus is at 9 fucking weeks. Yeah. He goes, he keeps, but he's got it in his little pamphlet, so he keeps opening up and says, see, here's a picture of a 9-week-old baby. I'm like, no.
Yeah, you know what an 8-week-old baby has? Webbed fingers and toes. You're welcome.
Well, that's an 8-week-old fetus, though. That's a negative 38-week-old
Fair.
baby. Yeah, so.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Hey, Ray, I want to use your math. Come here. I want to give you $9.
Also, there's an amazing moment where he's asking this like pair of girls and he's like, do you know how they do an abortion? And one of the girls is like, they break the arms and legs first. She thinks the fetus owes abortionists money. Like an old-timey fucking mob hit.
Well, the one guy goes, wait, so they crush their head and then rip the arms and legs off while it's living? I'm like, no, man, they just crush the head when it's living. After that, you can do whatever you want.
And it's not living technically, it's viable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Also, this is where we get the one girl who he's like, but isn't your life precious? And she's like, actually, I'm suicidal and my Uber's here.
I fucking love this girl.
Mental illness demonstration. I cannot tell you how many conversations I have had with this girl over my lifetime. Actually, I'm suicidal. I'm on 74 medications. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. God, I wish I was aborted. Uber's
Yes.
here. Peace.
And then she just dips the fuck out.
Oh.
I pray for death. Bye-bye.
I wanted her to dab before she left. Oh, I love her.
Yeah. Oh, and then we get the plant, right? There's the last guy he interviews, this guy who's like, no, I think it's a woman's choice. And he says, well, look at this picture. And then the guy's like, wow, I am totally convinced now and dramatically looking at the camera.
That's a child.
Is this prepubescent Kaneki from Greece?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. I liked him.
The most obvious goddamn plant in the world,
Yep,
right? Like
absolutely.
It might as well be Ray Comfort in a mustache on top of his other mustache. Hello, I'm an American, y'all.
And then, okay, I love the way he closes this all off. We see Adriana again. We see just a quick shot of Adriana, who told us earlier that she did have an abortion, which is, prompted Ray to say, did you feel guilty about killing your baby? So we show a picture of her, and then we show a photograph of her baby that was never born, I guess.
Well, we show a photograph of
baby.
A black baby. Yeah, he was like, that's the baby she killed.
Yeah,
It was that one.
exactly.
Yes, it would be this way.
By the way, I checked. That is the first result for Black Baby on the stock images website.
Oh, is it really?
Ray,
Oh my God.
Ray has it listed in his credits which stock images website he used. So if you ever want a real insight into Ray's mind, just take a guess at what he's searching for. And yeah, that was Black Baby.
Oh, God.
Oh, so good.
So we end on an image of the baby that was never allowed to be born, and then Easy Zwain pops up to pimp the website for a bit.
Well, before that, we get the Jeremiah quote again.
Oh,
And
yes.
What do you guys imagine when you hear that quote? Because I imagine an old Hebrew dude trying to assemble a baby like IKEA furniture inside a woman's fallopian tube. It's just
I need an
great.
Allen
I
wrench.
love that. I love it. I love that quote so much.
All right, but you have to lift up that side because I haven't put in the screws yet. It won't stand up.
Fucking part A. Where's part A? I lost one.
Why
of the
isn't
nuggets.
that the first one? Why am I just now getting to part A? That makes no sense. All right. Well, to close things off, I think the question is obvious. What is the least lethal object you would abort a fetus with if it meant no one ever had to watch this movie again?
Ooh, I'm going to go ironic. A baby Einstein CD.
Nice. Well
Very
done.
good. I'm going to have to say the abortion pill. Because, it's like not lethal. It only kills fetuses.
Oh, well done. Well
Yeah,
done.
sure, yeah.
All right. Well, that's exactly how I'm going to answer that question to Ray. I always, whenever I watch a Ray Comfort movie, I always think I feel like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, it would have been worth him doing it just for me to be there to catch him doing it, I'm just going to paint half my hair green and paint my eyebrows red and wear black lipstick and walk around slightly behind Ray until he asks. I've never wanted it more than I wanted it in this goddamn movie.
Oh, so good.
All All right. Well, Anna, I can't thank you enough. I'd say we should do this again sometime, but it sounds like a threat when I say that. So
Really does sound like a threat.
all right.
Man.
And a lot of our listeners apparently just realized or didn't know until very recently that you had an album out.
Oh, yeah, I do.
And I've had a lot of people ask where they could go to find that. So, while I've got you on the line, where can they go if they want to hear more from you?
You know what? Go to annabosnick.com. There's links there to where you can buy my CD online, or you can just, anywhere you get music. So Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all that stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. And of course, we'll have it linked on the show notes as well. And well, that's going to do it for our review of 7 Reasons. That's not going to do it for the episode just yet because we still need to grease the skids for next week's show. So Eli, tell us what's on deck.
Come what may. Anti-abortion legal movie, everybody.
Is it the abortion-tacular? Are we doing an abortion-tacular here?
No, I was outvoted. I just happened to find 2 good ones in a row.
All right, awesome. Well, with that to look forward to, we're going to bring episode 208 to a merciful close. A huge thanks to Anna for hanging out with us today, and a perhaps even huger thanks to all the Patreon donors that help make the show go. If you'd like to count yourself among their ranks, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/godawful, and thereby earn early access to an ad-free version of every episode. You can also help a ton by leaving a 5-star review on iTunes and by sharing the show on all your various social media platforms. And if you enjoyed this show, be sure to check out our sibling shows, The Scathing Atheist, Citation Needed, and The Skeptocrat, available on iTunes and wherever else podcasts live. If you have questions, comments, or cinematic suggestions, you can email godawfulmovies@gmail.com. Legal services for this podcast are provided by the law offices of P. Andrew Torres. Tim Robinson takes care of our social media. Our theme song was written and performed by Ryan Slotnick of the Giraffes on Mars. All of the music was written and performed by our audio engineer, Morgan Clark, and was used with permission. Thanks again for giving us a chunk of your life this week. For Heath Enright, Eli Bosnick, and Anna Bosnick, I'm Noah Lucians. Promise to work hard to earn another chunk next week. Until then, we'll leave you with a Breakfast Club close.
Adriana went on to get her black belt in Krav Maga in case another Australian evangelist ever popped out of a bush at her again.
Ray Comfort fell into a deep depression when he realized none of the women he'd lusted after in his heart ever had his baby afterwards, and he's pretty sure that means they had abortions.
Madge the Pug never forgave Anna or Eli for both the times she had to watch this movie.
Oh, no.
Oh, poor girl.
I was so pissed.
Just wandering around my living room last night going, what is Ray's version of a homeless lady's voice?
Same one as the foot.
Yeah. So. The preceding podcast was a production of Puzzle and a Thunderstorm, LLC, copyright 2019, all rights reserved.